Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. Well, good morning. It's Nick Collier again, and we're going to continue playing with this steady rest that we're working on. And I thought about it last night and kind of tried to work out all of the angles and couldn't really come up with anything until I woke up first thing this morning and bam, it was right there in my head. So I'm going to bring you in closer and we're going to have a look and see what we got. All right, well, so I just threw up some real quick sketches here, but I think this is going to answer the problem. We're going to build a bolt with a threaded boss on the top of it, and that'll go through the clip, and then a long threaded screw with a knurled finger nut on the end, and a little indent here with a dog point set screw to go down and grab that, and this screwing in and out onto this will allow this to slide, and then we'll put the wing nut on the bottom here, so the wing nut will be underneath, and you'll be able to tighten it up. Now, probably because the wing nut is pretty wide, we're going to end up using a just a wrench nut, so that we can have a little bit of extra room. So I think this is a good approach, and so we're going to go and see if we can find some materials and go from there. We'll be back. All right, well, that didn't take too long. We've got a piece of, looks like 7/8 by 1 inch or something like that. It's a scrap piece from another project, which I always like to kind of hang on to, and that's going to make our clamp nut, and that's a good start there. And then I came up with some stainless steel rod, which is came from another project. Actually, this was a scrap from another project, and so we'll turn that down to 5/16. Yes, 5/16, and set it up for the knurled nut, which would be a piece of stainless. What is that, about 1.75 inches or something like that. So I think we've got the basic materials for that, and we'll just basically drill a hole in the knurled nut, bring our bolt up to the end of the hole, and just throw a quick weld on the end of it. We're not looking for pretty here. I mean, we could probably just trim it off afterwards. So that's a good start. So now we need to figure out our length and cut each one of these, and then put them in the 4-jaw and start turning them down. All right, well, so I think the first place we're going to go is we're going to take the most simplest one, and these little blocks here. And last night I cut these blocks out to bridge the gap all the way across. But that doesn't need to be that thick. So I think we're going to use those as our little bosses on the top of the slider. So I think the first thing we want to do is square up some edges and then go from there. we got 3 pieces that are equal in size and shape. And what we need to do next is we're going to work on, let me go get that piece. All right, well, right now we're working on the travel nut or bolt. What I've done is I've cut one piece, and this is an old scrap piece, so it's a little thicker on this end than this end. So right now we're just kind of cleaning up the flatness. We're going to flip it over and do the other side, and then we'll have it together. All right, so we're gonna, next thing we're gonna do is make this little travel bolt or nut or whatever I'm thinking it is. And the way we're gonna do that is I wanna make this square part as tall as this little piece is here, so that we have plenty of room to put a hole in there and bolt it in place. So we're going to just kind of set this thing up like that and loosen it up so we can slide it into place. There we go. Somewhere like, oh no, it goes the other way. I want to go that way. So just eyeballing it in. And we want to come just a little bit further out. And I think we've got something. Yeah, maybe just a little further. Okay. So, this, we want to turn this down to, I'm not sure what size right now, but I'm sure we're going to figure that out pronto. But we've got a bit of turning to do before we even have to think about it. I'm looking for my wrench. What happened to it? Here it is. Okay. That's reasonably sharp. Okay, so what we want to do now is kind of come in and eyeball in our, yeah, we're pretty far out. Okay, so this is too close. Tell you what we're going to do. We're just going to go in and get it close first. All right, so this wants to loosen. This wants to tighten. A little bit looser. So we got it down to a half-inch shaft. We're gonna, yeah, we're about 9 under, so that's good. We're gonna bring this back. We're gonna bring this forward. Get our drill, our chuck attachment in there. Get it on up close. And answer that phone. Okay, so we've got our threader, threading head. I know it's there. I can't remember what it's called. Oh well. That's what I get for being almost 70. Die, that's it. It's called the die. Usually it's about 2 o'clock in the morning that I remember what the hell I was trying to say. And we're just bringing the head in as I rotate the die so that it keeps it nice and square. And once we get in a ways, then I can just take the head back, or the chuck back. How are we doing? Yeah, we're about halfway there. I want to keep going just a little bit more. Get about 3/4 of the way. How's that look? That looks pretty good. Okay, so now start everybody up and just start this thing rolling. Good by me. We'll walk it in the last half turn or so just to get it to bottom out. And there we are. Pretty good. I think that's pretty well set up. We'll take that one out and we're going to move over to the next one. And that's just about what we want. I like it. Excellent. So we're gonna go have some lunch right now, and we've got a good start. We still need to flatten those two edges so that it slides up and down inside of the slot. Drill a hole in that and tap it. Yes, and tap that hole. Right, and then we'll be set to go. And we'll be back. Well, Nick Collier here again, and it's, I don't know, 5 o'clock in the morning. Yesterday we made some incredible headway. We got these sliders all set up and ready to go. Well, not completely set up because we still have to do more to them. I'm going to come in close there and show you what we need to do. Let me get a pen. Oh, here's one. So we're going to come in and, can you see that? Yeah. We're going to cut a flat right in there. So this whole part, we'll just cut it down to flat. And then we need to drill a hole in here all the way through and thread it. So that's a good start for the rest of the day. Or maybe tomorrow, but maybe not. So we'll get started on that and we'll be back soon. All right, well, so we're in the middle of cutting the flat across where it goes in the slot. And I just kind of roughed out that cut there. And then we're gonna come back and get a more accurate cut. All right, let's get the brush out, see where we're at. Well, we still got a ways to go there, but I'm thinking that might just be about enough. So we'll go that way a little bit, back to 0. Let's see how close we are here. We'll use a little fingernail gauge. And I'd say we're fairly close, maybe within 3 or 4. So let's take 3, see what we can come up with. Okay, now we're getting down there. And I'm thinking we want to go just a little bit deeper. Maybe another 10. And just a little bit further in. Let's take it 3. There we go. We hit. All right, so let me set my DRO. Reset to 0. And I want to come out just a little bit because this is just a little bit small to catch that. So I'm going to come out, oh, I don't know, 10 or 15 thou. And go ahead and just catch that little outside edge right there. Yep, that looks pretty good. Okay, let's flip this thing over and see if we can get something consistent on the other side. Bring that in. Tighten her up. That feels pretty good. I'm going to bring it down until it hits the parallels. Almost. There we go. Tighten it a little bit more. There we go. Okay. And bring it back. And we're going to go to 0 and 0 on the DRO, but we're going to take a fairly rough cut. Well, not a giant rough cut, but enough to, let's bring it back and not quite go to our line. Somewhere in that general area. All right, come back. Clean it off so I can see what we've got. Looks good. We're going to come back to 0. That should give us what we're looking for. All right, let's see how that's going to work. We'll take it out, we'll brush it off a little bit, we'll go over and see if it's going to fit. All right, so we're sitting here, we've got our piece. We'll slide it down, and it fits pretty nice. This is probably going to go somewhere right in there. We're going to run our threaded rod through here with a little hand wheel on the back side, and that will go back and forth like this, adjusting all the way out. and all the way in. Let's see how far in we can get. That's as far as we can get in. So we're going to be a little shy on getting all the way in, but once we put the wheels in place and the wheel could sit out a little bit, I think it'll be just fine. All right, so that's pretty good for that. I think it's time for me to go for my early morning walk, and we will be back. Well, this is the time of the morning I like to go out and go for a walk. That's the tops of the trees around my property. It's just, dawn is just breaking, and it's a little bit cloudy out. You can see there's the moon. We're ready to go for a walk. I'm very excited. Not sure if you can see it yet, but autumn is in full swing. We'll take some shots later on, but the leaves are all turning. It's just starting to rain. You can hear it hit the ground. And right here is where I do stretches and push-ups to keep my 70-year-old body alive and awake. All right, well, we just left the pavement, and now we're on the back side of the road where it's all gravel. And this is the place where several times in the last few months I've heard the cougar who lives back here somewhere. I've never actually seen it. I've seen cougar scat and cougar tracks, and I've heard it, but I've never actually seen it. All of my neighbors have seen it. We're making a left-hand turn here. And, but back here there's bear and deer, of course, and all kinds of other animals. There's some autumn in full bloom right there. Just an amazing time of year. So we'll come back. So right now there's just a little dinky pond right in the middle of the driveway, right? But when it really rains, this whole section back here turns into a pond. And the pond actually runs over the top of this drive and out going downhill toward the river. So we'll continue with our walk, and we'll be back. Okay, coming to the end of the dirt wild area and back into residential with paved roads and houses and other such things. But it's a nice neighborhood. Okay, now we start on the long uphill run. Yeah, it might be about a quarter-mile long, and it is definitely uphill. So pretty soon you're going to hear me breathing pretty heavy. Okay, we're on our way up the hill, and more autumn leaves, and we'll be back to you soon. Okay, we're just peeking over the top of the hill here. Any second. All right, we made it over the top.
Now it's just a couple small hills, and then it's a full downhill run all the way back to the house. A couple of years ago, I had a double bypass, and the doc, after the operation, said, okay, you gotta go find yourself a nice long walk up and down hills. So pretty much every day I come out here and walk this path. I mean, it's pretty ugly out here, but hey, somebody's got to do it, right? Okay, we'll be back. Okay, now it's a full downhill run all the way back to the property. We got about another eighth of a mile, and it's starting to rain in earnest. I don't know if you can hear it or not. But we like the rain. Okay, the last few yards of the loop, and we're headed back to the property, and we're coming up on the cairn, which is stacked rocks. Of course, mine are stacked fairly high, and I swear this stack literally is just one rock stacked up on top of another. Nothing's holding it in place, and that thing will sit there for months just like that. Oftentimes, the reason why it falls over, not because some truck drives by and knocks it over, but because some bird lands on top of it and knocks the first 3 or 4 rocks down. And I put them back up, and it's kind of a daily thing. So, here we are. There's the rest of our journey back to the house. All right, well, here's the trail, the actual little trail that goes back to the house. It runs parallel to the driveway, but I like taking this trail much better, especially this time of year when everything is in the yellows and browns. And it comes up on our little cabin, which we rent out, and then around the back side of the cabin is the house, and we'll come up on that in a second. And there's our little house. About as cute as the bugs here.